can you tell us just a little bit about what are the different methodologies or types of testing?
I majored in psychology, and that's about all I brought to my industry was a little knowledge of psychology. But there are three types of testing, psychological testing. Okay. The one that's been around for eons is cognitive testing, which is intelligence testing. It's relatively easy to do, and the correlations are very high when you give a cognitive test. But it tells you how intelligent you are, how bright you are. Then came along testing, which are generically called a personality tests, but I call them affective indexes. They measure emotions, feelings, values, those kinds of things. And you would have a person who has an outgoing, gregarious personality, and then you would have a person that's an introvert, and you get opposites. And the correlations are very high also on affective indexes. But nobody had ever heard of cognitive testing. I had a meeting with a psychologist friend of mine, and he started using words I'd never heard. And I took pride in keeping up with psychology and what was happening in that field. And I said, what are they? Where'd you get these words? And he says, well, it's Kathy Kolbe out in Scottsdale. And by the time our dinner was over, I had made a telephone call to get in one of her seminars because it was intriguing. But it's called the noun is conation, CONATION, and the test is called a conative index. It measures conation. And conation basically is the way we do things, how we go about doing whatever it is that we do. And Kathy Kolbe pioneered in this field. And incidentally, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Wonderlic intelligence test, but E.F. Wonderlic is Kathy Kolbe's father. And
I remember doing some research on this because as a fan of the NFL and the NFL draft, aka the Spandex Olympics, they always talk about the quarterbacks and keep them for, I think, for the last, I would say 25 years, how every quarterback in the draft does in the Wonderlic test. And then in hindsight bias, we tie that into either support them or make fun of them. But yeah, absolutely. I remember there being obviously family tie that if you could come up with something valuable, there's a good business
they're
model.
Both
there.
From your neck of the woods. They're from Chicago. Kathy Kolbe went to Northwestern and did her graduate work there. But at any rate, Kathy had this idea, and she used to debate with her father all the time about this other part of the mind that nobody had ever measured before. And he encouraged her to, if you believe that, you go out and you prove it, you make it happen. And she came up with this cognitive index.